there's a difference between being liked and being loved. See, being liked, it often comes from performing, from pleasing or from adapting or from knowing what's expected and then delivering that flawlessly. But being loved, that comes from being known fully, imperfectly, messily. Many of us, being known is where the terror really lives. Because what happens when we stop performing? What happens when we stop smiling through our discomfort and when we stop agreeing when we actually disagree? Or when we stop pretending that we're okay when we're hurting? What happens when we let someone see us in our full emotional landscape? Not just the tidy parts, but also the conflicted and the unfinished, hard to love parts about ourselves. See, for decades, I lived inside this fear. It's not because I wanted to deceive anyone, but because I'd learned very early that people respond to the version of me that was polished and responsible and high capacity, the version that read people's needs in real time and exceeded their expectations even before they voiced whatever it was. I don't think this was manipulation as much as it was survival. And eventually became my currency. If I gave people what they wanted, then I would be accepted. If I exceeded what they wanted, then I would be celebrated. But underneath the celebration was this silence, a silence of unspoken interests, of stifled emotions, of a self that was constantly editing just so that I could avoid rejection. See, the real me, like my passions, my quirks, my pain, my boundaries, they didn't feel safe to bring forward because the equation was very clear to me. Authenticity equals risk, and risk equals potential abandonment. And so I became the version of myself that others adored, but rarely ever knew. And I mean, this worked for decades until it didn't, because being celebrated for the version of myself that wasn't me began to feel like I was being erased. A quiet betrayal, if you will, of my own aliveness, a life that looked full on the outside, but echoed loneliness on the inside. And this is the paradox I think so many of us live in. We've built connections that we don't feel safe inside of. And we've cultivated these relationships that reward our silence. We've become like experts at being loved for who we are not.